it's a playground. You can really mess around and you can find your identity and you can go, man, I made that short film. It was fun. I learned a lot, but I also learned what not to do.
Welcome to Mighty Filmmakers Podcast, Raindance Film Festival special episodes. My name is Asatuurs.
My name is Josh.
And today we'll be dissecting a filmmaker who is part of Raindance Film Festival, who I would say has done some quite an impressive things, let's put it this way. And let's see if we'll be able to understand his working process and tell you all more about directing from Elham's perspective. Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. You alright, guys?
So tell us a bit more, I guess, about yourself.
So I'm a filmmaker based in London. I was born in Afghanistan. I came to this country when I was about 10. It's all kind of been an accident, everything that's happened to me. I never intended to get into film. I wanted to be a journalist. And through a series of events, I kind of got pulled into filmmaking, storytelling, and I'm very glad I did. It's very fulfilling when it's happening.
Would you say it's a happy accident or painful?
Well, you know, I feel like all the things that kind of are worth chasing are painful, but that makes them even more fulfilling. So it is a happy accident. But it's definitely, being a filmmaker, I'm sure a lot of maybe your audiences and other filmmakers understand when I say that, yeah, it takes a lot of you, of who you are, of your life, of your hopes and your dreams. And you have to give a lot to this love, which is telling stories, bringing narratives to light, and bringing compelling issues onto either the stage or the screen or in a podcast, you know, audio. So it's definitely, it's good when it's good.
What was it that inspired you to make the jump from journalism to film?
Well, I actually never got into journalism.
Oh, right.
I never got that far. I studied law at uni. I graduated. And, well, actually, let me backtrack. I'm an actor as well. And I did a film when I was really young. I was in a film called The Kite Runner, which was an accident. Again, I just stumbled into it. I did this film, came back, and I was like, "Okay, cool, that's done." Back to real life, and then I went back to school, went to uni, studied law, graduated, got a job in the city, and I was like, "This is a bit boring." So I jumped back into acting, and I'm sure if some of your listeners who are actors know this as well. Acting, again, is an incredible job, and it's good when it's good, but there's such little power as a performer, and you kind of forfeit your destiny to powers that be, and that never really sat well with me, because I do like to make things happen, and I do like to chase things. So I wanted to be an actor in something. I wanted to write something to act in. And that's when I made my first short film. And then that kind of, when I learned about filmmaking and got introduced to telling stories, and I was like, oh, this is pretty good. Maybe I'll look into this.
It's great because what we're doing here is we're exploring 5-step journey. So hopefully through this conversation, we'll be able to arrive to your 5 steps.
Oh, wow.
As a director. So
I think it might be a bit more than 5 for
yeah,
me.
most likely.
Yeah.
But let's see what happens. I did look into your film, and it all looks quite actually interesting, especially your approach to the topic as well. So can you give us like a very quick sort of run through of the story and your approach, the specifics of your approach?
So the film is called There Will Come Soft Rains, and it's about Mira, who is a girl in London in the not so distant future, in the very near future, who is so haunted by rising sea levels that she decides to dig up her father's grave to move him to a higher ground because he's buried next to the river, and she knows that the river is going to overflow. So she goes on this crusade to try and make this thing happen. And ultimately, the film is a meditation on climate and what we're facing and how we're changing. And it came about because we won a fund called Climate Spring. With Climate Spring, it's called a Hot House Climate Spring Film Fund, funded by Climate Spring and Danusha Samal, who's another actor and a great writer. And that was the inception of the film, because the pitch was, how do we tell a story about climate without making it about climate? And ultimately, the film is about mourning, it's about sisterhood, it's about love, and it's about hope. But running parallel to that is this climate anxiety that our lead is suffering from. And that's the narrative crux of the story.
And I guess that leads us to your first step. So what is the beginning? How does the beginning of your project looks like from director's perspective? Where do you begin?
It's so hard to make films, whether it's a short film or a feature film. It's the same, you're tackling the same beast. So when I look for a film that I'm going to engage in, that I'll be married to for the next year or year and a half, I always look for that click. Is this a cool idea? You know, is it does this idea excite me? Is it cool? Oh wow, here's a girl who has to dig up her dad's grave because of climate. That's a cool idea in my head. I'm like, okay, that's a cool idea. Now let me break that down. What is it actually about? Because all the cool ideas, like E.T. is a film about a kid who has to handle a divorce. He's going through his parents' divorce. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But the cool idea, so that's a scaffolding. That's the heart of the story, but the scaffolding around it is this alien who comes in. So I'm always looking for the cool idea, and then I'm like, okay, so where's the heart? How can I relate this to the human condition? How can I relate this to about being alive? How can I make this compelling? And here it was in this film, even though the idea is this girl decides to do this, this Muslim girl in Islam, it's considered such a heinous act to exhume a grave. She decides to do this thing, and it's like, okay, cool, that's the idea, but what is it? Let's go deeper. And then you realize, okay, well, it could be a film about sisterhood. There could be something that we can go deeper, and we can talk about our hopes and our dreams and our anxieties about the future and the future of our kids. And that's when you really investigate the premise. I feel like if you make a film because it's a cool idea and you don't investigate it deeper, it just won't bang. You know what I mean? It just won't get better than that. So that's kind of, I start with a cool idea. What is the vehicle which I'll tell this story with? And here the vehicle is this thing that happens. This grave is being dug up.
Yeah, and then, so it sounds like, yeah, you have like the cool idea, like maybe the core concept, but then like you're talking about the importance of theme, right? And having like those themes that are, I guess, giving the story another level.
Okay, how do we word it? So I think we have step number 1.
All right.
That's cool idea. That's pretty good. Have a cool idea, but how do we define that cool idea? So what could we add to this?
Well,
how do you define it? How do you define what is cool?
Well, I can only define what is cool to me, you know, and I feel like because of who I am as a person, because of where I'm from, because of my life, the things I've seen, the things I've done, cool means something else. Just because I think something is cool or something isn't cool doesn't mean it's not cool for someone else. Or someone else, or I might like an idea I might be like, I'm not attracted to that idea, but another filmmaker could take that, and then because of who they are as people, he or she could turn it into something that is compelling and something that's amazing. So I guess it's a cool idea that's cool to you.
All right. Well, cool idea. That's cool to you.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll ask our producer, please, put this on our board, we've learned from previous episodes that we cannot remember anything. So now we have a board on the side.
You guys are professionals.
Yes. We're trying very hard. Doesn't work very well, but we're learning.
The whiteboard's going to be great.
Cool idea to you. Yeah.
Cool idea to you.
Cool idea to you.
I feel like cool idea starts at the top of every list. Every good list starts with cool idea. So this isn't anything new that I'm saying.
You're pushing it a bit more because you're completely right. You're pushing it into a very personal space where we're thinking, okay, what's cool to you is not cool to everyone. And again, like what you've done with your story, I feel like you did bring yourself into it very nicely. And that again makes me think about how personal filmmaking is in general. So we can pretend that it's not, but it really is, especially independent filmmaking. If its main purpose is not just making big buck, basically.
Yeah. Well, again, like with this story, because I am from an ethnic background. I'm from Afghanistan, and a lot of the stories that I try to tell, although all stories relate to the human condition universally, a lot of my stories I try to pepper in or decorate it with ethnicity, even if the theme isn't around that. And I feel like that in this case that has raised the stakes, because okay, we have a girl who digs up her father's grave, but what if she's a Muslim girl who digs up her father's grave? And that's a whole different thing that you're dealing with in the film, which is the Islamic community and the Muslim rights and what it means to exhume a Muslim grave. So this all heightens the stake, and it's thanks to adding an ethnic character and an ethnic arc. So I feel like a lot of time people might consider making something ethnic because it's a checkbox, but I feel like that can actually dramatically add stakes to your story and elevate it and be an asset. Of course, not every story. I'm not saying be ethnic with everything, because that's, you just have to look at the story, and also again it comes down to putting yourself into it. I'm British. I live in London, but I'm also Afghan. So I'm kind of juggling two different continents within me, and that to me is an asset, because I have the stories from back home and the stories from being in the West, and why not use that? So any other filmmakers who have that mix, they should absolutely embrace that and try and see if there's a hybrid that they can come to.
Yeah, I think as well, like when you do that, two filmmakers can make the same concept, but if they put themselves into it like that, you can have two very different films.
Well, absolutely, because again, the film is a thumbprint of yourself. Just like as an actor, you can give an actor a paragraph to read, and that paragraph will be read 100 different ways by different actors because of who they are as people. And it's the same with filmmakers, the same with directors, it's the same with any HODs, any technician. They bring, you think it's kind of a technical thing, but it's really not. You bring in so much of your personality and so much of your existence and how you see the world.
Yeah.
So I guess we can move on to the process then as well. So what is your process, for example, working with talent or crew as well? So is there anything you discovered, what you would say, okay, so at this stage of my career, at this point, this is how I do it?
I think there isn't a set rule that I'm like, okay, cool, I have my rules and this is how I'm going to keep going. I think that the rule book is I'm adding to it, I'm learning new things and I'm adding to it. One of my golden rules when I bring together a team is to work with people better than me. So if lighting, I look at a gaffer's work, and obviously they say there's a famous quote that says that the only person on a set who has no skill is a director, no technical skill anyway. Yeah. But even with your actors and your actresses, you want to be able, half of the job is casting well. You want to be able to cast someone whose instincts you trust and whose instincts who will elevate the story, because look, you make so many different films along the process, the one you write, the one you're shooting, and the one you edit ultimately. So the film changes so much, and I try to, as collaborators come on and as the team gets bigger and as we start making this thing, I'm not married to many things in the script, because I'm like, oh, if I'm on set and my actress does something that's really cool, does something that's different that isn't in the script. Damn, that's great. Let's roll with that, because that's her bringing her art to it. You know what I mean? And as a good director, I think you have to be able to recognize when that happens and when to give free license. You know.
That's step number 2, 100%, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think you said something along the lines of trust their instincts.
Yeah.
I think that's a good one.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, trust their instincts.
Whack that on the board.
I mean, just trust their instincts, and it could be applied to cast. It could be applied to crew.
It could be applied to everyone, everyone on set, you know. And I think being a director is you're kind of like, you're leading this ship wherever it might be going, but you're not the only one, you know. So it's not your ship, you know. So you gotta trust everyone. That's why you bring them on, because you trust them, right? So it should be democratic.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
So moving on through directing, going into sort of visual style, for example, what is it you do in defining how your projects should look like?
I think with making short films, one of the beauties of doing that is it's a playground. You can really mess around and you can find your identity, and you can go, man, I made that short film. It was fun. I learned a lot, but I also learned what not to do. And I learned what I like and I learned what I don't like. And similarly with me, when I make my shorts, I feel like my aesthetic sensibilities are kind of evolving, and I'm kind of learning more and more what I like. Like if I did a short film before this called Yellow. It's on the BFI player if anyone wants to watch it. That is kind of a different aesthetic to this film. Because in this film, I really wanted to be adventurous with my framing. I'm a big fan of Pavel Pawlikowski's Ida and Cold War, and that's something that where cinema is a visual medium, and I feel like, and again, it comes down to there's no one department that trumps another. You can't just say that if the story is good, you'll make the film will be good, or if the actors are good, the film will be good, or if the cinematography is good, the film. No, everything has to coalesce and everything has to be in harmony. But that doesn't mean that you don't kind of fine tune the different departments. And that's what I really focused on with There Will Come Soft Rains. I really wanted to really play with my framing and really mess around and go, let me do unconventional rule of thirds framing, brave framing that kind of is a little bit wild at times, but it's something new and it's something new to look at. And that's what I tried to do in this film.
Short films in general, I feel like, are very often overlooked. And you're talking about short films as a playground, as an opportunity to test your skills, to find your own approach, which is great. Would you say, how do you feel about like short films in general? And do you think, is there any future in that or not? Or is it just a stepping stone to lead to feature films? Or how do you see that format in general?
You know, with my films, my short films, I've been really lucky to be able to travel to different festivals. And one of my favorite things to do is to watch the other short films. And my God, there's just such incredible talent out there. I love short films. I think I will always make shorts, even when I'm making features. Shorts is, you just cut your teeth on shorts, and it just makes that feature so much easier to do eventually when you are lucky enough to do it. I think shorts are incredible. I've seen some incredible shorts that have moved me to tears. I've laughed my heart out, and they are, because with shorts you're really, let's say, you're doing what a feature does in 15 minutes, and you're compelling an emotion from the audience. I think that's incredible. Man, I could give you a list of my favorite shorts. I actually have a list of the shorts that have touched me deeply. I even wrote about it on my website. You can go on my website.
Tell us, where do we need to go? Because we want to see that list.
Yeah, well, you can go to Elham so ELHAME.co, and then just go to my notebook page, and I write stuff on there, things that I like. But I made a list of some of the best shorts of last year that I'd come across, and there's just incredible stuff out there, such incredible talents, and the way they tell stories, man, the way they look at a theme and they go, what if I tell it through this lens? Do you know what I mean? Like some of the Iranian filmmakers are making incredible shorts. The Greek filmmakers are making a lot of European cinema and shorts. India, oh my God, some incredible short films in India. There's a great film festival in London called the London Indian Film Festival. And they do, every year they have an award called the Satyajit Ray Award. So my film, so this will be playing at London Indian Film Festival, but also my previous short, Yellow, played there as well. And that's when I was exposed to a lot of Indian short films, and God, it's incredible. Such incredible talent. You see these boys and girls just making incredible cinema in under 10 minutes. Professional, moving, it's just stunning. So anyone, go on the Vimeo Staff Picks page and just watch the shorts on there. It's insane.
I think we need to add this as step number 3.
Yeah.
Somehow we need to mold in short films into your process, because it's such a big part of your work.
Absolutely. I think
How do we phrase it?
watch lots of short films.
Yeah, I guess embrace the freedom of short films.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. Because with feature films, it's quite a commitment of putting in 2 hours of your time to then get to the end result of whatever emotional payoff it might be. But with shorts, you can get that in 10 minutes and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And yeah, check out my website for my favorite shorts and check them out online. They're all
Yeah, we'll link it as well. So
Yeah.
we'll link it, and definitely we want to see that list as well. Okay, watch loads of short films. Number 3. I think that's pretty good. And
Did we skip over one? Didn't we talk about one to do with visual?
no, there was another point which you kind of discussed, but I'm lost already. So
It's fine. It's good to be lost.
Yeah. It was to do with collaboration, right, and tweaking with the other departments.
Yeah.
lens. You said look
Oh,
through the.
Everyone have crew members that are all better than you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Something to do
Okay.
with that.
Work with people better than you,
Work
I
with
guess.
better than you, yeah.
Yeah.
Work with people better than you. Yes. Shall we? Do you
Whack
think?
it on there.
do you
Whack
think
it-
we-
Yeah,
yeah?
whack it. That's really important. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we got there.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, that's number 4 then.
Yeah.
Work with people better
Better than you, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right. Josh, did you?
Yeah, so should I say the question?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like, obviously you've seen from your CV and everything, you've got a lot of acting experience. And what has the impact of that been on your filmmaking?
It's really, I think it's really helped me see a scene, because I can see it both behind camera, but in my head as the actor, I can see it in front of camera as well. And also it helps me speak to my actors, which I think is such a valuable skill, because oftentimes you don't want to be speaking different languages. I think that's one of the toughest things on set. If you're speaking different languages with your actor, then there are problems. But I think, again, it's a kind of accumulating life skills that all come into this cohesive thing at the end. So I would say my acting background has helped me a ton with my work behind camera.
I think one of the good points is, which I kind of looked at some of your stuff, and you mentioned as well that something about green filmmaking.
Yeah.
So conscious filmmaking, basically. Tell us more about that approach, because I have a suspicion that would be a good 5th point on our list, because that's something a lot of people should be looking into. And I can see slowly projects emerging, like much greener projects. So what was your process? What did you do differently? How did you consciously sort of approach it from a green perspective?
Oh, absolutely. It's so important, especially with this film. There Will Come Soft Rains is a film about climate. And when we were making it, we were very mindful to be able to walk the walk. So we had green generators on set. It was vegan catering. Even in pre-production, when we were scouting for locations, we would find locations that were close to each other, so we don't have to drive between locations. So we'd find, okay, cool, so this lake is something that we need, is pivotal in the story. Well, let's find the house close by to the lake, and let's find the bus stop close to the lake. So we were just walking between different sets, which was great, because we didn't have to deal with traffic. We didn't have to cause traffic. Even our lighting, the way we lit, We're using energy, environmentally friendly lights, because again, it comes down to, as a filmmaker, I think more and more so now, because the world is changing. Our world is changing so much, and I read something in the Guardian about within 3 years. 3 years is the cap before we're kind of stuck in the temperature rise, and that's a big deal. And I think with the film industry, we do have a huge carbon footprint. So I say this to writers, I say this to filmmakers: try to look at a script. As a writer, you can be like, okay, well, do I need this scene to be shot at night? Because if you have a night scene, you have more lights. If it's pivotal to the story, fine, but then find a way around it. But do I need to you can kind of investigate at every stage as a filmmaker. Do I need to have so many different locations? Do I need to travel so far? Can I not find everything close by? We were heavily guided by, so the BFI have frameworks for filmmakers who want to be green. So they've got the BFI guidebook. It's online. I'm sorry, I forget the name, but also you've got the Green Rider, which was championed by Danusha Samal and Will Attenborough, who also helped fund the film through Climate Spring. So there's a lot of toolkits out there that can help you make your film green, make your set green. Even in post-production, if you can, try not to travel so much to the edit suite. Maybe you can do it online, you know what I mean? Because everything has a carbon footprint. And I think if we go into that and be more environmentally conscious, it kind of, and honestly, it wasn't that much more expensive to be green. Vegan catering, cars weren't allowed to idle on set. We had a green steward who basically kept an eye on our the culture on set and what we were doing. We had obviously recycling, disposable cups, recyclable cups. So it's a lot of different things you can do to try and do your part. I think, and I think it's really important, especially because the earth is dying, man. You know what I mean? And it's we're in it. We're in it.
I think it's such a good place and space, and I mean, independent filmmaking is a great space for that type of work, for pioneering green filmmaking, for testing things out, for trying to actually make it work. And to be honest, how did you feel about it creatively? Did you ever feel like it kind of stopped you from achieving some creative goals, or not, or it actually helped you in a way?
Honestly, like creatively, I'm quite minimal in the sense that I don't require too many setups. I don't like too many different coverage shots. So in that sense, I don't expend as much energy when it comes to lighting, when it comes to crew, when it comes to the different factors that could affect the environment. And honestly, I think the only thing throughout was time, and everyone has that problem on set. Time is always your enemy. You're always up against it, and that was the same on our set. But there was never a moment when I thought, I wish this wasn't a green shoot. Do you know what I mean? So no, it didn't get in the way for me at all.
Okay, let's make it number 5 then.
Yeah.
How do we phrase it?
Be green. I don't know.
Be green.
Green in every aspect, I think. Even in our props, we were using secondhand props. We didn't buy anything new. I have a whole list. Can I pull up the list? Because I want to see if I can do it justice.
And to be fair, charity shops is such an amazing resource as well.
Absolutely.
For secondhand props and
for the budget and the planet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. It is insane when you think about it. Like you mentioned, like the planet's dying and the people in control of things don't seem to care. It seems just kind of crazy, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, and again, that it comes down to this fund, and the reason we made this film is because everyone knows about the climate crisis. I can't tell you any facts because I'm not interested in that, because I know we're screwed. But it's the climate crisis. We've had scientists, we've had researchers screaming from the rooftops with facts for the last 4 decades. They've given us facts, they've given us incredible things that raise our eyebrows, but we forget about it. But it's been intellectualized so much, and I think now is the time to bring the filmmakers and bring the artists in to humanize it. Because yes, okay, facts tell us where we are, but man, we love a good story, and it's the stories that will change mindsets. And again, this film was, how do we make a film about climate, but without making it about climate? And it's a film about mourning and about sisterhood and about grief, but tethered to the planet. And again, it's I think there's a test, a climate test for writers, and there's 3 points. And one of them is, does your world, the world that you write, does it exist in a world where climate change exists? And do your characters know about climate change? So it's something as writers that you can kind of subconsciously, kind of really subtly implement into your work. Like, I'm writing a play, and it has nothing to do with climate, but there's bits in the dialogue when my characters are looking at old photos of Afghanistan and they go, wow, the air was so much cleaner. Or look, there's not as much smog. And this is kind of just little things that you can put into your project that allude to climate. And these are all, man, there's a whole like website by the BFI and BAFTA. BAFTA I'm not doing justice to this. I forget all the names, but it's if you just look up the BAFTA climate workshop, I think you'll find the list. And it's something that I think is a must as a filmmaker now, just as much as dealing with all the problems around the world. That's the biggest problem.
I think our conversation is a good chance for us to link all those resources in the show notes. And
BAFTA Albert, that's what it is.
BAFTA
Albert, and you have the Green Rider. You can check that out as well. And Climate Spring. They all offer toolkits and offer resources for filmmakers to be more green.
I think we kind of arrived to the moment when I really liked what you said. You said something along the lines of, stories is what will change the mindset. And I think yes, independent filmmaking, our stories, that's what will change the mindset. Not numbers, not those kind of crazy facts which are shocking and scary, but stories which we can connect to as human. So I think that's a good finale for us here.
Absolutely, man. Stories have raised and crumbled empires. Do you know what I mean? They're so powerful. The pen is so powerful. And we've had stories, like if you look at the Lascaux caves in France, that were the oldest cave paintings, you look at that and you realize we've been telling stories in different formats for centuries. And that's what touches us. We love a good story. So.
Thank you so much, Elham, for joining us.
Thanks for having me, guys.
And just tell us all, where can we find you?
Well, you can catch me. You can just go to my web. I don't have social media anymore, so I'm doing this thing where I've just deleted social media, and I'm like, okay,
well done.
It's a little bit tough, but I'm getting. It's actually not as hard as I thought it would be. I'm getting used to it now. But I do a bit of writing on my website of films that I like, issues that I like, from Urdu poetry to films from a festival I've been to. Do you know what I mean? So you can. It's elhame.co, and then that's it. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Enjoy your time at Raindance Film Festival.
Thanks for having me.
And we hope to see you here again at some point.
Me too. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Hey, guys. So this is my five steps. Have a cool idea, an idea that's cool to you. Make your set democratic and trust the instincts of your collaborators. Watch lots of short films. There's incredible storytelling. Make your films green. The planet needs us, and anything we can do to help, we must, in every facet of our life. And the last one is work with people better than you. Yes, boom, got it. There you go. That was good.